Today, we are gathered to celebrate the graduation of the Senior Leader Course, Class 23-003. For the past 3 weeks, these NCOs have put into practice leadership skills such as counseling, mentoring, Army writing, and critical thinking, and problem solving to give them the critical foundation for effective leadership as an enlisted senior leader in the Army and in their National Guard recruiting and retention battalions. The guest speaker for today's ceremony is Sergeant Major Ronald Brantley. Sergeant Major Ronald Brantley enlisted into the Guam Army National Guard in July of 1993 as an indirect fire infantryman. His assignments include gunner, FDC, and section sergeant for the mortar platoon, squad leader, training NCO, platoon sergeant and readiness NCO, first sergeant and G1 operations sergeant major, recruiting and retention command sergeant major, and senior enlisted leader for the Joint Task Force 671 COVID pandemic for the island of Guam. Sergeant Major Brantley deployed twice in support of Operation Enduring Freedom in the Horn of Africa. He currently serves as an instructor facilitator for the Department of Joint Interagency, Intergovernmental and Multinational Operations at the United States Army Sergeants Major Academy. Sergeant Major Brantley's education includes all levels of NCO professional military education, Pathfinder, Expert Infantryman's Badge, and he has earned a master's degree in organizational leadership from Columbia Southern University and a master's degree in instructional design, development, and evaluation from Syracuse University. Ladies and gentlemen, Sergeant Major Brantley.
So, good morning, Colonel Cherry, Command Sergeant Major Snow, Major White, Sergeant Major Ferrara, First Sergeant Miller, staff and faculty of the 79 Tango Non-Commissioned Officers Academy, distinguished guests, family, friends, and above all, the graduating class 23-003. First, allow me to congratulate all the graduates for successfully completing the 79 Tango Senior Leaders Course. I would like to also send congratulations to the parents, friends, significant others for your support of today's graduates. Because of that support, your soldiers were able to enhance their problem-solving skills. They were challenged with thinking critically and creatively during these past 3 weeks. Like me, without a support system, I don't think they would have been as successful in their careers. Now, SLC has prepared you to serve in positions of greater influence and responsibility within the Army National Guard, recruiting and retention force, but more importantly, to be self-aware and adaptive non-commissioned officers who understand organizational management, training strategies applicable in both recruiting operations and military decision-making. Now, these all support our 3-tenet mission, right, of recruiting, retention, and attrition management. It is truly a professional honor to be here with you today. Please allow me to express my sincere gratitude and for the privilege of addressing this event. Join me in giving these fine graduates a round of applause. So it's great to be back in the recruiting and retention environment, which brought me so much pressure and anxiety, but molded me into the leader I am today. So when I was asked to be the keynote speaker today, I did not hesitate to be here and inspire the future leaders of our National Guard. Many years ago, I gave a speech to a graduating class of the Basic Leader course, and just last week to a Master Leader course. The common theme with those speeches as I reflected on it was leadership transcends every level of the NCO Corps. What I mean by this is transcendent leaders rise above the limits of ego self, in other words, what you want out of it, into higher self, what is good for the organization. This means caring for soldiers, placing the mission first, things you do for others before self. This is an interesting thought, don't you think? That by taking care of yourself, you are taking care of others. Now, that is not selfish, but realizing that by doing so, you are taking care of others and the organization. Now, the Director of the Army National Guard, Lieutenant General John Jensen's top priorities are people first and developing professional, ethical, and caring leaders. By completing this course, you are achieving these priorities by investing in end strength as the Guard's first mission. The instruction and facilitation by the Professional Education Center here, specifically the NCOA, has ensured you were developed through ethical standards and understanding that without people like you and me and the citizens of our nation, we cannot achieve the Army's mission of winning our nation's wars. The investment that your leaders have made are ensuring you have the institutional knowledge to sustain while gaining the knowledge to pass on to future attendees of this course. Great job in carrying out the priorities of both your state and the nation. So as you heard in my bio, I have many schools and assignments. Although it was tough to manage the rigors of work, family, and military life, it was a requirement. Now, why is that important? You have just completed the Senior Leader course, which provides the Army with capable senior non-commissioned officers who maintain a positive presence, who are self-aware, adaptive, and able to maintain and sustain the force. The foundations and standards of these professional facilitators here have set in each and every one of you should be always remembered and cherished, right? And instilled in your soldiers every day. Your chain of command, from your commander all the way down to those soldiers, need to know that you are qualified to lead them, and completing this course, again, instills that confidence in you to look out for them. You now have the institutional knowledge through the problem-based environment using doctrinal context of this SLC curriculum. What you need is to build on the application of that knowledge in your military duties. But it does not stop there. The Department of Defense is taking hits with recruiting. And not only within the National Guard, recruiting and retention is not only a local issue, it's a national issue. Albert Einstein, or his parable of quantum insanity. Insanity is doing something over and over again and expecting different results. I challenge each and every one of you to think outside that box. Try new tactics and procedures, because you will learn whether it works or it doesn't. So, now, I'm not here to talk specifically recruiting. Although it is important, I want to focus on leadership. What has made me successful to become a Sergeant Major? So back in 2018, I was given the privilege to become a Command Sergeant Major for a recruiting and retention battalion. As you can tell, I'm not 79 Tango by trade. What my leaders saw in me was leadership, motivation, and experience. Now that experience was leading experts. I say experts because each and every one of you are experts in your craft. What was missing in the time in Guam was leaders who thought outside of that box, based on the conditions on the ground. So myself and my new battalion commander, Lieutenant Colonel Vince Guerrero, we brought a new strategy into play. We called it minimize to maximize. We lowered our monthly mission for each of our recruiters in order to make our yearly mission. Now, I know this sounds counterproductive, right? Because how do you get more by requiring less? So let me explain. So if you are missioned at 3 a month, and at the end of the month, you are hovering at 2. As a human, you would think, oh, fight or flight. What do? Do I just stop or take my losses? Do I get back on the street and find that next applicant? But there are consequences to that, right? Family, time that spent away. Now imagine you are missioned at 2. At the end of the month, you made mission. You have a couple more days left over. So you're going to start working for that third enlistment, right? The next month, you just completed 3 now. The next month, you're going to be ahead again. You're working towards 4, right? That's how we did it. Now, this was what I asked you, though. Don't go back to your commanders and sergeant majors and say that you have to be missioned at 2, all right? Because each of the recruiting and retention battalions within the 54 have different missioning requirements. So what eventually did this do? We made our end strength for Guam in 2018 and 2019. But with that leadership that we had in place, right? Again, a commander who has no recruiting and retention experience, a command sergeant major, infantry command sergeant major, who has no recruiting and retention experience. Guam became the top recruiting battalion, small state, in 2018 and 2019. We were also the top retention for the nation in 2018 and 2019. That's leadership. So how do you get there? There are two pieces. First, it takes commitment. The next piece is the dedication. Whether it's making mission, passing the ACFT, you are the only one stopping yourself. Commitment and dedication are not difficult. All you have to do is look at your fellow soldiers, left and right, your leadership, everybody. That's what should drive you. My former commander again, Lieutenant Colonel Vince Guerrero, uses the Find Your Why speech. This was derived from Simon Sinek. It is a powerful message in whatever you do. Why do you put on that uniform every day? Why did you raise your right hand and take an oath? There has to be a reason. That is your why. Remember your why. Once you find your why, find the next one. Never stop looking for your why. Second, build a team. You will soon, if you're not already, be in charge of a team such as an NCOIC or a station commander. The way a team plays as a whole determines its success. You may have the greatest bunch of individual stars in your world, but if they don't play together, the club won't be worth a dime. That quote came from the great Hall of Famer, Babe Ruth. It takes a team to accomplish the mission. Your task as leaders is to find the strengths and weaknesses of your team and build on it. Reading, listening, like on ebooks, like The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, or The Ideal Team Player, are great books to help you build a team. Communicate constantly with your soldiers and leaders. If you have the best plan but cannot communicate the intent and purpose, then it's just a plan. Ensure you influence the enterprise with credibility and not just making excuses. Reward those deserving soldiers at the earliest possible time. Nothing is more rewarding than to see a soldier sharing their war story of their achievement. Third, assist your soldiers with career development. Sit down and let them understand the importance of those individual requirements, right? Next, what does your leader want from you? So here's my thoughts behind it. First, you have to have a make it happen attitude. Leaders don't want excuses, they want results. A leader's job is to make an organization better, and the only way that can happen is when they have soldiers who are positive and self-motivated. Make sure that you show initiative and take responsibility when you see something wrong. Second, a willingness to collaborate. Leaders are responsible for much more in the organization than any individual soldier's concerns, feelings, and performance. Each soldier is a part of a leader's larger system and should realize his or her actions affect the whole. Don't feel entitled. 9 times out of 10, there's a bigger picture than the little window you are looking out of. Third, touch points lead to talent management. You are never too busy to visit your team. Be visible. But more importantly, be engaged. The time I was able to interact with soldiers was the time I find out things about them that led to effective retention, especially within our Army National Guard. Fourth, the passion to drive your own growth. Leaders want followers who seek to enhance their own growth and development rather than depending solely on the leader to do it. As what was said in my bio, I had 2 masters. Although what you didn't know was I was enrolled in the Sergeant Major's Academy, 42 years old, having a full-time job. It's never too late. Reading books from different leaders such as General Stanley McChrystal's Team of Teams, General Mattis' Call Sign Chaos, or General Powell's It Worked for Me has grown my knowledge of history and personal insights of the world. So finally, a question. A question you should reflect on this afternoon. Are you ready to lead when you walk out of this building? Is it because you completed the course and ready for the next rank? Or you've been an NCOIC or a station commander for the past year? So it should be a piece of cake, right? Your answer should revolve around mind and spirit. Now, let me explain this. If you want to mentally prepare and execute leading, in other words, want to lead, then check your azimuth. If you think you are ready, but your spirit is not into it, check your azimuth. You need to want to lead with a passion deserving of mission accomplishment. Soldiers are looking to you to make a decision, good or bad. You will make mistakes along the way. Trust me. We are all human. In my eyes, looking at each and every one of you, I believe you are ready. Don't hesitate. Show your mettle. As in our creed, all soldiers are entitled to outstanding leadership, so provide that leadership. In closing, leadership is an intentional act. You have to do it. It is important to remember that most people are not born with natural leadership skills and qualities. But leadership can be learned and developed. Find your leadership style and implement it, and I promise you will not regret it. God bless you, God bless our Army, and God bless the great United States of America. NCOs lead the way. Thank you.
Sergeant Major Brantley, thank you for that insightful message.